Welcome to the PTTS. Today's day is November 30th, 2025. My name is Nang Hong Lam. So today PTTS session's video is on oppression and curse, and also it is also like it's like follow up to what I was saying in Bastard Retribution first update. Basically, in that video I was talking about having two titles: regional TM game championship title and undisputed empty-handed combat championship title, and it is a very serious crime that the world doesn't acknowledge about it and things like that. So pretty much follow up on that. And also it is kind of like an introductory video, kind of like in a way just really brief and like just at the fundamental level and very brief and things like that. So, and also like I really didn't like kind of like in a way, like do like a in-depth research and everything on it and things like that. Anyway, basically it's just like kind of like in a way, these sort of very obvious questions is like, does the reporters ask the first question, or does the person who getting interviewed ask the first question? Sort of these more obvious, like kind of like in a way, it's like the answers, like obviously it's like the reporter should make the first question and things like that. Kind of like questions and answers that you're expected to know the answer right away and things like that. It's like, and kind of like the same thing. It's just like, I have took multimedia classes in San Diego Mesa College for 3 years, and I have got elected as club president of the Mesa Multimedia Club in Mesa College campus, and so like in a way, and then someone gonna ask this question: how come my website blog and my YouTube channel is not as well as a person who didn't even take any of these college multimedia class and didn't even get elected as club president of Mesa Multimedia Club and things like that? How come this person, they don't have take these class and sort of like make a better blog and a better YouTube channel than me? And so like in a way, it's like, well, does you still know the answer, or do I have to explain it to you and things like that? It's like, kind of like in a way, like I'm the regional TM game championship title holder, and someone have never been to a TM game tournament before, and and there's this talk about this person. It's a you know sort of like in a way have more well accepted in the TM game industry and everything than me and things like that, and kind of like in a way or like you know like claiming that he or she is better than me and things like that. And do I have to explain these kind of thing? It's like do you like the people already kind of like in a way sort of like saying that, well, that should be like pretty obvious answer. I don't really have to explain about it too much. It's like people would kind of go with my title, like the regional TM game championship title holder should have some kind of privilege in this kind of situation. Would people go with that kind of answer, or would people have to force me to explain about my answer and things like that? It's like anyway, like pretty much anyway, back to what I'm saying on the oppressions and curse. So pretty much well, I think it just had to do with sort of like the more well known in the history, when you're seeing these sort of events is happening, like the historical events is where like in China, like the more like when so like the revolutions in China, when the dynasty ended, kind of like in a way there are no more royalty in sort of like all the royal family are ended, kind of like in a way with kind of like it would argue like that is pretty much like noticeable historical events, as like all of a sudden all the royal family are ended, that, and then a new government system is, so sort of like in a way this sort of thing that is noticeable, and then it would consider as catalyst, it happened so sudden, it's like the royal families are considered as having all these sort of status and wealth and everything, and all of a sudden ended, and have a new government and things like that. So this sort of sudden changes and could be very devastating to accept, kind of like in a way, especially you're like part of either the royal family or part of the royal family, and then all of a sudden, it's like you have to, seeing these changes that it's ended, no longer there's, and then you're so familiar with all the custom and everything. It's sort of like in a way, it's very devastated and things like that. And then also like the Cambodian regime, which my father in his autobiography book, like my father wrote about the Cambodian regime in his autobiography book, which is from 1975 to 1978. But besides he wrote about it, he also talk about it a lot, like before he began writing it in his autobiography. So like in his talk, I heard him a lot of his talk on the Cambodian regime. So it's also similar to the historical events in China, like when the royal family ended and a new government began. So pretty much, the Cambodian regime it was just at the sudden, like the end of the war, and then all of a sudden the Cambodian regime happened, and so sort of like in a way also like this sudden changes, which is called this Cataclysm, Cataclysm. So Cataclysm, so I would say it wrong earlier. So it's Cataclysm. So it's called like these sudden changes. So pretty much, like that's whole argument, how much sort of like in a way, people could use this Cataclysm to bring up these Cataclysm. So like in a way, I felt like maybe to kind of like, that it is really devastating. Then, it's sort of like in a way, but these sort of Cataclysm, like I was just saying, that's when people really should pay attention, because of these Cataclysm. And, like the problems in my life, no one really pay attention to it because it's not like the Cataclysm, it's like the royal family ended, or, there's the Cambodian regime and things like that, it's like, anyway, like I'm just saying, pretty much, I don't know, like I just don't want, pretty much just want to point out that, maybe it's not like a Cataclysm, but some of the answer is like very obvious. Like I earlier, like was saying, like how come a person have no experience in multimedia or media and then created a better blog and YouTube channel than my blog and YouTube channel, and I have took 3 years of multimedia classes in Mesa College, and I have got elected as club president of the Mesa Multimedia Club for 4 years. And how come my blog and YouTube not as good as a person who doesn't even took any of the class or didn't got elected as club president and things like that? These sort of answers that I don't really have to. Felt like I should have some kind of privilege on this kind of question, because I took the classes and got elected as a club president. I should have some kind of privilege on this. It's like, okay, so I'm gonna have to end this. Well, just pause this video because it's almost 15 minutes. Because I can't upload any video that is over 15 minutes. So I'm gonna pause, kind of stop this video, and then start another video. So I'm gonna end this video in 3, 2, 1.